I'm thinking about it too much. Hi, my name is Nebraska. This is my boyfriend Owen. And this is the channel Las Toskis. We are helping expats move to Montevideo and get a sense of what's going on. We've seen many people make dangerous mistakes, including us. And in the next minutes, we'll show you exactly which neighborhoods will keep you safe and which could put you in serious danger. So let's dive in.
This video is about safety. We're going to talk about some of the good neighborhoods, some of the neighborhoods that are a little questionable, and certain places that you shouldn't live or really even go to as an expat.
We'll start with the green zones. The first one is Positos, which is a place that is full of restaurants. There's a lot of traffic because there's a lot of offices around. You can also find the shoppings and lots of private and public schools around. So there's a lot of movement in that area, which I consider safe.
Expats tend to like Positos because it's very central and there's lots of nightlife. So while the idea of the noise and allure of nightlife might not be so ideal as far as a restful environment, it does kind of tend to keep that neighborhood safer. It's safe to walk at night. The next neighborhood we're going to talk about is Punta Carretas, which is also really central, but a little more expensive than Positos, although the houses and apartments tend to be a little larger.
And pricey.
Yeah, so Punta Carretas is very expensive, the neighborhood to live in. Even as an expat, it's not cheap.
So the third location is Karrasco, which is more like an embassy road, and it has a lot of diplomatic protection. It's farther away from the other neighborhoods, so you'll need a card, but it's worth it for families. It's also a little bit pricey as Punta Carretas, but it'll work for families in general.
It's very beach oriented. You'll find lots of boutique shops as well as like private schools in this neighborhood. But Dubraska's right. It's a little further from town, so having a car would make it more ideal. I used to live between Buceo and Malvin, and I loved it there. It was a little more isolated than some of the central neighborhoods, but it was very quiet, very sunny, and the neighbors were very nice. Parque Rodó is kind of like the university student bohemian zone. It's pretty safe, pretty central, but it's mostly younger people living there because of the nightlife and university element. Parque Valle is very central and very old. This neighborhood is in the very smack middle of town, but it can be a little complicated these days because of how much transit runs through there.
Now let's talk about the yellow zones. Centro is the first one. So there's a lot of movement in there during the day because you will find 18 de Julio, which is one of like the main avenidas. But during the night, it gets very, how do you say that?
It's kind of a ghost town.
It's a ghost town.
Once everyone goes home from work, there's nothing much going on there.
The next one should be Ciudad Vieja.
We lived there for a while.
Yeah. And it's kind of like the same. During the day, you'll find lots of offices and people working in the area. But after 6-7 p.m. is a ghost zone, so you shouldn't walk alone, or you should avoid walking alone.
But again, Dubraska's right. Like at night, it's probably better, even if it's just a couple blocks, to take a taxi home. Another kind of gray area or yellow light neighborhood would be Cordon. This is very central between Centro and like Parque Rodó, Palermo kind of area. More student and middle class kind of oriented, and there's lots of kind of like nightlife springing up there because of the affordability of the neighborhood, but it's in the process of kind of transforming to a safer neighborhood.
You used to live there?
Yeah, also. I lived there. This is where I lived when I first moved to Montevideo because it was very affordable, very central, close to everything, but I don't know if I would live there again.
Now let's move on to the danger zones or the red zones. I'm gonna start with Maldin, but Maldin Norte.
Important distinction between Maldin and Maldin Norte.
So we discussed that Maldin is one of kind of like family-oriented safe zones, but there's a difference, as Owen said, in between the south side, which is closer to the beach, to the north side. I used to live there and I got robbed several times. So you shouldn't consider that area for living. In general, it's considered as one of the most dangerous zones in Montevideo. So it's a no-go, please.
Someone told me when I moved here that a good rule, as far as when you're looking for a place to live, whether it's to rent or to buy, is to go along Avenida Italia, which is a big main artery street that runs through town, to pop a chalk line, and everything south of that line, you're good to live in.
Good to live, yeah. The next neighborhood we'll talk, it's pretty close to Maldin Norte, which is the north side, is Maroñas, in the Curva de Maroñas.
For 5 or 6 months on the curve, la curva of Maroñas. So between Unión and Maroñas, Flor de Maroñas, right off of 8 de Octubre, because it was cheap, but the reality is I didn't know better. And although I fortunately didn't have any bad experiences during that time, now I notice the difference having lived in other places like Malvin and out here in Atlantida. So I don't recommend living in that area, no matter how tempting the cost of housing is. Like anything up north, Casa Valle, Casabo, Marconi, like
La Teja.
Yeah, Capurro, just do yourself a favor and steer clear. The main takeaway from the safety thing in the neighborhood is just to kind of steer clear of the north side. So no matter how tempting the property or the rental may be, in the long run, you'll be better off in one of these more central or beach zones. I would say everything north of Avenida Italia, You could make an argument for like La Blanqueada or Unión, but even still, like it's just better stick to Positos, Karrasco, Punta Carretas, Malvin, places like that.
I would say La Blanqueada and Unión are orange zones because they are
yellow orange
because they are north side, but they are kind of like in the middle, in between coast and the red zones.
Yeah, but this raises an interesting point about how Dubravka's experiences with those zones are very different from mine.
Yeah.
Walking alone at night is not the same for her as it is for me. And no one is exempt from being robbed or anything like that. But perception and perspective definitely factor in.
And I want to say that whatever happened to me in those areas happened also during the daylight with other people around. Try to avoid those areas in general if you can.
There's no rules for this. Nothing is going to protect you completely. But these are just the things that we've experienced on our own and watched other people go through as far as to where they live and their experience living in Montevideo. These are just recommendations. So in addition to talking about these neighborhoods, we're going to give you a section of survival tactics and how certain situations can be avoided and how to keep yourself safe in the city. The first thing is that as far as like robbery or petty crime is concerned in Montevideo, and this goes for Latin America as well, is the most common types of robbery, of course, are pickpocketing and what here they call motochoros, which is essentially two people on a motorcycle and they'll pull up alongside you. They might hold a weapon to you, but they also might just snatch whatever you're holding. So what do they say? If you hear a bike coming and you're alone, you try to step to the side or step into a shop. When you're walking, walk on the oncoming side of the street, especially at night, so you can see those people coming. Not
everyone is going to try to rob you, but just
of course,
just to be.
But this is a very common way people will try to rob you.
It is. It is common. It can be common in the bus, for example, and you're checking your phone. There's people who are going to try to take advantage if the window is open.
Yeah, kind of an aggressive pickpocket move. A more overt move is to grab people's phones and wallets and then either through the window or what I've seen, which is someone headed for the exit and someone grabbed their phone right at the door and then just get off the bus before the person could follow them.
It doesn't happen all the time, but it happens. And
it's pretty safe to use your phone on the bus. Just be cautious about it.
Yeah, it's pretty safe. Sundays, in Montevideo, pretty much everywhere.
There's nothing going on.
Like stores in the streets are closed except of the shopping, so it's safe to be around the shoppings and the Rambla. But I don't think there's much going on Sundays, especially Centro, Ciudad Vieja.
Dubra's right. Big box stores, the mall will be open, but chances are the shops in your vicinity will not be.
So January and February seasons, right? Like the city Montevideo, gets empty, and most people travel to other places like Punta del Este, Canelones, because it's summertime, so they want to take advantage of the sun and go to the beach.
As a result, their homes are unattended, and this presents an opportunity for people to go Christmas shopping.
Exactly. You can avoid that by having an alarm system, cameras, and make sure a friend goes to your place now and then. But just so you know, January and February, Montevideo is pretty alone. Some other quick tips that we can give you is that you should use the ATMs in the shopping centers, not the ones that are outside the shopping centers, because it's safer.
There's not a lot of street-facing ATMs, but the ones that are in like little kiosks that are away from other things, or in the front of a bank and the bank isn't open, you're better off going somewhere that has a security guard present. Compliance money, are we going to talk about compliance money?
Compliance money? What is that?
You know, I've had Uruguayans recommend to me where if you're out walking at night or something like that, whether you have your phone or your wallet with you or not, that you should carry a few pesos, like, $10 worth or something like that. So if someone does try to rob you, that you have something to give them so that they will leave you alone.
Oh, I didn't know that. But
I don't know how I feel about this. I've done it before, but I've never fortunately had to use that money. But a lot of times, like if I go out at night, a lot of times I won't take my phone for that very reason.
So if you have any questions, just leave it in the comments and we'll try to answer. And
or if you'd like to share your experiences on where you've lived in Montevideo, comment that as well.
We'd love to hear your story. So just hit subscribe and we'll keep doing these little videos about Uruguay and Montevideo in general. So just don't rent that apartment in Maldin Norte, please. Just don't do it. Don't do it.
Not worth it.
It's not worth it.
Not worth it. Yeah.